It is a special edition of Sports Guys Talking Wrestling. Stu Myrick here, joined on the phone by longtime radio colleague, former combat sports expert Eddie Cross. Eddie, how you doing?
Stewie, how's it going, man?
It's going. We are doing this special Sports Guys Talking Wrestling. You just had the regular weekly episode 2 days ago, but this one we needed to do because this morning it is. By the way, it is Thursday, July 24th, I believe. Yes, July 24th. Yep. The report came out. TMZ first to report it around 10 a.m. this morning. Hulk Hogan has passed away at the age of 71. Apparently, from a cardiac arrest, went into cardiac arrest, according to Clearwater Police in Clearwater, Florida. Police EMTs arrived at his house to find him unconscious. They tried to revive him, put him in the ambulance, sent him to the hospital. He was pronounced dead moments later.
It's been a hell of a week, hasn't it?
Well, it's interesting. This one, it's interesting because there had been rumors for the last few months about his failing health, but then we would hear from his wife that he's not as bad off as they're saying. And in fact, I think it was yesterday, Jimmy Hart, Mouth of the South, said, "No, Hulk's doing fine. He's going to be okay." Well, apparently
I think we learned in the '80s not to trust what Jimmy Hart says.
Well, and that's the thing. That's that was obviously that wasn't the case. I think it was Bubba the Love Sponge who, for a long time was Hulk Hogan's best friend, and then became an adversary. He had mentioned that Hogan was having health issues. There was talk of him being on his deathbed, which I think his wife kind of disputed that. But again, and we always talk about, celebrity deaths in threes. You had Ozzy Osbourne, and then Malcolm Jamal Warner, and now Hulk Hogan. And to think about Hulk Hogan, it is a very complicated legacy, to say the least.
To say the least.
It's one of those things. The last 10, 15 years have not been kind to him, and he has been kind, honestly. And I think, and we'll get to that in a moment. But at the same time, if you are a wrestling fan, it is likely that you became a wrestling fan, especially if you are of my age, mid-50s.
My age, late 40s.
Yeah. It is likely that you became a wrestling fan because of Hulk Hogan. His imprint, his impact on professional wrestling cannot be measured. I mean, you look at what he has done. He was trained by Hiro Matsuda in the mid-late 70s. In fact, Matsuda broke his leg to see if he really wanted to be a pro wrestler. He was working as a bassist for a small-time rock band. But he went through the training, competed in championship wrestling from Florida, competed in Memphis, competed in the AWA. In fact, he was in the AWA when he made the appearance in Rocky III with Sylvester Stallone and Mr. T.
I didn't even realize that.
Yes, he was in the AWA. Vern Gagne was not in favor of it. He was not in favor of Hogan being in that movie. And then Vince McMahon acquires Titan Sports from his father. He wants to take the WWF at the time. He wants to take it nationally. He needed a centerpiece to focus on. That's when Hulk Hogan signed with the WWF in 83. Sure enough, January 84, Hogan beats the Iron Sheik for the WWF World Championship in Madison Square Garden. And Iron Sheik, it was, that was a transitional championship reign. He had won, Sheik had won it from Bob Backlund. But that was to set up Hogan winning the title. And that was the birth of Hulkamania.
It's hard to believe he won the belt first when I was like 6 or 7.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
41 and a half years ago.
Wow. When you say it like that, it's even worse.
I know. It's nuts. And from then on, I mean, he took off like a rocket.
Yeah.
He was the face of pro wrestling. I mean, and there were still some territories, and Crockett was still running, and AWA was still running, and everything, but it was, if you mentioned pro wrestling to anybody, especially those that did not know pro wrestling, the first person that came to their mind was Hulk Hogan. And I would argue that might be the case today if it's not The Rock. If it's not The Rock, it's Hulk Hogan.
Now, for me, growing up in South Texas, I became a wrestling fan because of the Von Erichs.
Yeah.
And then seeing NWA/WCW on TBS on Saturdays at 6:05.
Yes, absolutely.
And WWF was something that would just, you could sometimes see on like the weekends, I guess when they had like Saturday night's main event or something like that. It wasn't as prevalent on TV, but you still knew who Hulk Hogan was.
Yeah, you did. Absolutely.
And you would see him on, don't even get me started when the Saturday morning cartoons came out.
Yes.
Lord.
Look at the Rock and Wrestling Connection.
Yeah.
On MTV. It started out as Wendy Richter meeting the Fabulous Moolah for the women's title, and then grew into the brawl to settle it all, and then blossom into that main event for the very first WrestleMania with Hulk Hogan, Mr. T, taking on Rowdy Roddy Piper and Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff. But there was, all the adversaries, and Hogan was the perfect hero. He was the superhero. He was the one that was going to vanquish the villains, whether it was Rowdy Roddy Piper, whether it was Earthquake, whether it was King Kong Bundy, Andre the Giant, who turned heel. And let's not forget, that WrestleMania 3 main event was not the first time they had met.
No.
They had met 4 years earlier, and the roles were reversed. Hogan was the heel, and Andre was the babyface. And Andre sold like crazy for Hogan. And you hear the stories about, was Andre going to pass the torch? Because, Andre was in bad health. He needed to get out of the ring. Yeah. He promised to do this one final match, but it still wasn't certain until the match happened. Hogan didn't really know if Andre was going to do business.
Because there was no one alive who could make Andre do something if he didn't want to do it.
True. Absolutely. But he did.
At least physically. Yeah.
He did. There was the story about when they decided to book the Hogan and Iron Sheik at Madison Square Garden, defending the title. There was a story that there were territory promoters, and Vern Gagne may have been one of them, that offered the Sheik something like $10,000, $20,000 to break Hogan's leg during the match.
Really?
Yes. And Iron Sheik said no. He was that honorable. He did the job for Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
But you look at it, 6 times WWE World Champion, 6 times WCW World Champion, and let's not forget, so he had his run in WWE, WWF, started to get stale. You started to hear boos. So he decides to back away, go shoot Thunder in Paradise. And then
a show about him.
And then Eric Bischoff comes a-calling. And before you know it, Hulk Hogan has signed with WCW. And it started out, the red and yellow. Say your prayers, take your vitamins, all that good stuff. In fact, He beats Ric Flair for the WCW World Title at, I think it was in the summer. I want to say Great American Bash or Bash at the Beach or something like that.
Bash at the Beach was already turned, right?
It was well, that's 96. That's coming up.
Okay. Yeah.
That was 96. But it was like 94, 95. And the funny thing was, there was an opportunity to have Hulk Hogan, Ric Flair, because if you look at wrestling in the 80s, yes, AWA still had Nick Bockwinkel and its myriad of champions. But in reality, the two champions were Hulk Hogan and Ric Flair.
Yeah.
And there was a time when Flair was in the WWF. They tried the match out at a house show and didn't. Apparently, Vince didn't like the reaction, so they never showed it on TV. Well, he gets WCW. They immediately book it for a pay-per-view. Shaquille O'Neal's in Hogan's corner. Hogan drops the leg. 1, 2, 3. Hogan now is the WCW World Champion. And then 96 rolls over. And we had the Outsiders. Kevin Nash, Scott Hall. And they book a 6-man tag for Bash at the Beach in 96. Sting, Lex Luger, and Randy Macho Man Savage teaming up against Kevin Nash, Scott Hall, and a mystery partner. Now, there have been myriad of stories. I think the most reputable one was they wanted Sting to be the third man, and Sting said no. So, again, Eric Bischoff goes to Hogan and convinces him.
Yeah.
Sure enough, Hogan comes down, drops the leg, turns heel, arguably one of the greatest heel turns in all of pro wrestling.
It's got to be the greatest, right?
They formed the NWO, they formed the New World Order, and they ruled WCW. Now, yes, the NWO got stale, got bloated, all that good stuff. And then you get to 2001, Vince buys WCW. Hogan takes a break. And then Vince decides to bring in the NWO to WWE because he needed to inject poison. So, sure enough, here come Hogan and Nash and Hall. And it leads up to that main event or the big match at WrestleMania 18 in Toronto. Hulk Hogan, or Hollywood Hogan, taking on The Rock. And the fans, mid-match, start to back Hulk Hogan. He's starting to hear the cheers again. And all of a sudden, The Rock is now the heel.
I think that may be the beginning of a lot of the problems we have now with the blurred lines between faces and heels.
It can be traced back to the NWO, and even before that with some of the things that Eric Bischoff would do on Nitro. But
now it seems like people are just so excited to cheer for people they've seen, cheer for their memories.
Yes,
that they just forget.
Yeah,
who's supposed to be a good guy and a bad guy.
Hogan,
that's really been one of the first ones, aside from just the cool bad guy.
Yeah, but Hogan eventually sheds the black and white, puts the red and yellow back on, has another run babyface. He won the tag titles with Edge, now Adam Copeland in AEW.
Oh crap, I forgot about that.
Yeah, won the tag titles there. I think, didn't he win the tag titles with Flair? No, that was Piper. Okay. But nevertheless, so it had a run. Then he goes to TNA. Dixie Carter had gotten control of TNA, wanted to make a splash, so here comes Eric Bischoff, Hulk Hogan, has a run in TNA. Some good, some bad.
Was it the Main Event Mafia?
There was the Main Event Mafia was part of it.
Yeah.
But it was, it was up and down. I don't think TNA got as much good out of it as they thought they would.
I think they gave him, as has happened before, it gave him a little too much control.
Well, and the other thing was Hogan was getting older. His body was beat up, so he couldn't wrestle as much as he used to. I remember there was the match. I think it was either him and Flair or him and Sting, and Sting had to basically carry Hogan.
The fact that all three of those were in TNA, you just sit and think about it.
At the same time.
Yeah.
At the same time.
That's crazy.
Yeah. It's so funny. And of course, a lot of us think of, because we just saw Goldberg wrestle his final match against Gunther on Saturday Night's Main Event.
Mm-hmm.
And you got to think about July 98 in the Georgia Dome. Hogan defending the title against Goldberg. And Hogan, he sold. He put Goldberg over. And, that was probably, I would say one of the best matches in the run of WCW.
Definitely the biggest.
Oh, easily. There was something like 43,000 people in the Georgia Dome for that. It was a Nitro. It was a Monday Nitro. It wasn't pay-per-view or anything like that. It was just regular Monday Nitro. So
that's crazy too.
So much. 2005 gets inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame. Sylvester Stallone is the star of the Rocky movies, of course. Co-star, inducted him. I mean, it's, as I said, the wrestling impact is immeasurable.
Oh, it is.
And it's just, I mean, and these days are coming. By the way, I mean, who had on their bingo card that Hulk Hogan would pass away before Ric Flair?
No, not a chance, dude. Ric Flair's been on death's door like 5 times.
I mean, Rick, not besides the fact Ric Flair is like 5 years older.
Yeah.
All the living. I mean,
and the plane crash.
These stories, and Ric Flair's still alive. Crazy.
It is like him and Iggy Pop.
Yeah, I mean, it is just incredible. Now, as I said, in the last 10, 15 years, things got a little complicated. Let's say 2015 was a bad year.
It was easy for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you had not only a sex tape that got out where Hogan was having sex with the wife of his former friend, Bubba the Love Sponge. The sex tape gets out. There's a company called Gawker. It was kind of like TMZ that released the tape. Hulk Hogan sues Gawker. Wins the lawsuit, and Gawker had to shut down.
Yeah.
So there was that. And, oh, by the way, Hulk Hogan was still married to Linda.
No, I think he actually died. Did he die on the anniversary of that coming out?
I don't remember. Oh, and they had 2 kids, Brooke and
July
Nick.
2015,
yeah. But then, also in 2015, there was an audio recording where Hogan, it had something to do with Brooke being seen with some basketball players, I think, something like that.
And whoever her boyfriend was,
Hogan was not happy with it. Hogan not only used the N-word repeatedly, he even mentioned on the tape that he was, quote, racist to a point, end quote.
Yeah. And people come back and say, oh, no, he worked with all these guys and all these other wrestlers. Like, yeah, to a point.
To a point.
He's not going to let himself lose money.
Well, and that's the thing. It was, the audio recordings come out. Hogan gives an apology. I don't think anybody really bought it.
No.
WWE actually, they kind of, released him. He was on a Legends contract. WWE ended that contract. They basically backed away from Hogan.
And that's saying something because you know who Vince was.
Yes, exactly. That's the ironic thing. Especially nowadays with all the stories about Vince McMahon. Yeah. Vince backing away from Hogan. It was to the point they almost did a Chris Benoit on him, where they almost erased everything.
But just like Hogan, if there's money to be made,
that's the thing. Hogan comes back. As I said, he attempts to apologize. Some accept it, some don't. But he is eventually welcomed back into the fold. And then 2024 rolls around. Hulk Hogan makes the appearance at the Republican National Convention.
He really did lean into it, didn't he?
And through his support for Donald Trump on his run to be elected president again. And
you gotta wonder if at some point Hogan just said, "You know what, to hell with it."
Well, and that's a possibility.
Yeah,
that is a possibility.
Or did he just see that there's dollar signs over here, so I may as well just lean into it because half the world already thinks I'm this way anyway.
Well, and that's the thing. So then, fast forward to January of this year, Monday Night Raw makes its debut on Netflix. They're at the Intuit Dome in Los Angeles.
Oh, yeah.
And this was also when WWE started putting sponsors on the mat inside the ring.
Still hate that.
They announced that they had signed a deal with Real American Beer, which was Hulk Hogan's beer. Sure enough, Raw on Netflix. Here comes Hulk Hogan with Mouth of the South Jimmy Hart. And the crowd there at the Intuit Dome boo him out of the building.
They let him have it. And I was so proud of wrestling fans that night, which I'm usually not.
It was pretty obvious their feelings towards the Hulkster.
Yeah.
So as I said, the last several years have made his legacy complicated.
It's like one of those things when you find out someone's true colors, though you were a fan of them before, and it's just really disheartening to find out what, like, kids take that very personally. And you just find out what, if I were to meet Hulk Hogan, what he would be thinking in his head about me.
Well,
it's really hard.
And that is something. I saw something. It was from Mark Henry, World's Strongest Man, WWE Hall of Famer, currently a co-host on the morning show at the Zone here in Austin with Mike Harge, and he put down some eloquent words. Basically, I think he was able to separate Hulk Hogan the wrestler from Hulk Hogan the person, or Hulk Hogan the wrestler from Terry Bollea the person.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of what may have to be done right now.
It's not easier with people that have worked with them personally.
No, it's not. And it's not.
Like, they think that, he treated me fairly. So when I hear that, I'm surprised and I don't know how to take it. So I can try and separate it.
Yes.
But those of us that just look at it from afar, it's a slap in the face.
It is. It really is. It's like you said, it's disheartening, especially, watching him as a kid. Mm-hmm. And I believed in Hulk Hogan. Say your prayers, take your vitamins.
Yeah.
Believe in yourself.
Saturday mornings with the junkyard dog and the cartoon.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Who, by the way, if you ever followed the junkyard dog, was one of the most beloved individuals in wrestling, going back to his days in Mid-South. He was truly an icon in Mid-South wrestling. And you think about, talking about in Louisiana, he was so loved. And then put that up against Hulk Hogan, who at that time, and that time we didn't know. None of this had ever known.
Right.
He was the hero.
But now some people, if you go back and look at someone like Jesse the Body Ventura, he would tell you he knew way back in the day that Hogan was a slime ball, because when Jesse tried to unionize wrestlers, it was Hogan that went to Vince and told him about it and basically ratted him out and ruined the whole thing.
Oh yeah.
And to this day, wrestlers are still treated like independent contractors.
No love lost between Jesse the Body and Hulk Hogan.
No.
Bobby Heenan was the same way. I mean, a lot of what Bobby would say on air, obviously that was in character. That was him being the weasel.
Mm-hmm.
But apparently there were some bad feelings. There was even, before he passed away, the Macho Man, Randy Savage. Apparently there was something between them. Like there was it was, and it's rumor and it's pro wrestling. So you kind of have to, there's some that you have to, you could see, but some of it you might have to take with a grain of salt, or maybe it wasn't as extreme as what was said. All in all, it's a sad day for wrestling because one of our heroes has passed away. At the same time, it's an exercise. It's an interesting time to reflect on how someone can be so beloved, and then with, when they show what many believe to be his true colors, that beloved feeling goes away.
And that's when you really remember that wrestlers are actors.
Yes. I mean, that's the thing.
Credits for their acting.
That's, and that's what I've heard forever. Wrestlers are always working.
Yeah.
It's
much your love for MJF.
It is a something to remember. I think obviously there have been lots of posts about Hogan passing away on social media. In fact, I saw something. It was from Ric Flair. As soon as I pull it up, let's see.
Like Hogan lent him money when he was down at some point.
This was from Ric Flair today. Quote, "I am absolutely shocked to hear about the passing of my close friend Hulk Hogan. Hulk has been by my side since we started in the wrestling business. An incredible athlete, talent, friend, and father. Our friendship has meant the world to me. He was always there for me, even when I didn't ask for him to be. He was one of the first to visit me when I was in the hospital with a 2% chance of living. He prayed by my bedside. Hulk also lent me money when Reed was sick. Hulkster, no one will ever compare to you. Rest in peace, my friend." And so that's from the Nature Boy. As I said, there are so many people that have shared, and it's on the wrestling. And as I said, we can mourn the passing of the wrestler and the hero.
The character, yeah.
Yes. And I think that's what I will do, is mourn the passing of a wrestler, the passing of a hero, an iconic individual. I would say arguably the most iconic individual in pro wrestling.
Yeah, that's hard to argue. Yeah,
it's hard. Yeah, I mean, there might be, I could count on one hand the individuals that might come close. Cena, maybe Flair, The Rock. I think that's it.
Yeah,
I think that's it. it was also, one of the ironic things is that, you look at how Hogan wrestled in the 80s. It's not like today. He didn't do a lot of moves, flips and stuff. It was pretty basic. But back then, that's what worked.
Yeah.
The ironic thing is he did work in New Japan Pro Wrestling. He worked in Noki.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say he worked a couple others. He did some stints in New Japan. And apparently that's where you could see his skill really come out, was in his runs in New Japan.
Yeah, Vince was known for dumbing people down.
Yes,
with their style of wrestling.
Well, it was a safe, basic, and people say that even today. It's not, you know, that there is a WWE style to work a match, as opposed to what you see in AEW or TNA or Major League Wrestling or anywhere else, or on the indies. Like I said, it's a sad day for wrestling that a wrestling hero is no longer with us.
Yeah.
And I think that's I don't want to underplay what he did over the last 10, 15 years, because he was not a good person.
Yeah. And I can say, without any hold back, that he died for me 10 years ago.
Yeah. Okay. Then so that might be
the shell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That might be a way to look at it. So, condolences go to his family, his friends. It's going to be interesting. So, Cauliflower Alley Club, who they are a wonderful organization that helps wrestlers, that may be in need. They're going to have their reunion in, I think, 3 weeks in Las Vegas. I'm sure there will be lots of Hulk Hogan stories going around.
Oh, they got to be working on a couple different packages for SmackDown on Friday.
Yes. Oh, yes. We will see. We will see the highlight packages.
SummerSlam.
I would bet there will probably be something. It's Thursday, so TNA runs tonight.
Mm-hmm.
I bet they try to insert something tonight on Impact regarding his TNA run. And as I said, I mean, whatever you think of the Hulk Hogan of the last 10, 15 years, you cannot deny that a lot of us are wrestling fans because of Hogan.
And for that, biggest star the industry's ever seen.
And for that, I'll be grateful for what he did in the business. And as I say,
WCW had a TV show named after his show.
Say that again.
WCW had a TV show.
Oh yeah, Thunder. Yeah,
Hogan
Thunder.
Series.
Yeah, Thunder.
Thunder in Paradise.
Yeah, they were doing Thunder, right?
Yeah, Thursday Thunder.
Well, and that's another thing. So he and Bischoff were going to do this Real American Freestyle promotion, and they were trying to get it off ground. I think they had already announced an event sometime in August, and now Hogan's
they
gone.
Had a streaming partner, and I have to think that a lot of the hiding that they were doing about his health was due to trying to finish closing that deal.
You may be right.
You got to wonder if Fox Nation would have jumped on board if Hogan wasn't there. If it's just Eric Bischoff, I don't think anyone jumps on board like that.
Yeah, that is a distinct possibility. I was lucky enough to be a part of an interview with Eric Bischoff a couple weeks ago on the Mark Hoke Show, and and Eric didn't mention anything about health issues with Hulk. He talked about the real American Freestyle and what they want to do with it, but he didn't mention anything about Hogan's health issues or anything like that. So again, this was, if you believe the rumors, then it's not that surprising, but
right.
Still a sad day in the world of professional wrestling. Hulk Hogan passing away at the age of 71. Again, condolences to his family, his friends, and wrestling fans worldwide on the passing of Hulk Hogan. Eddie, I appreciate you joining me, man.
No problem.
It was good to hear your perspective on it.
It's good to have a piece of home while I'm away.
Absolutely. That'll do it for this special edition of Sports Guys Talking Wrestling. We'll be back next week with the SummerSlam preview. But for now, I'm Stu Myrick. For Eddie Cross, I'm Stu Myrick. Thanks so much for joining us, and we will see you at the matches.